Hi, this is Chef Brad with the Wondermill WonderMix Company. One of my family's favorite recipes is potato bread. Actually, it's more like cake because you make it and it's gone. They absolutely love it. So I'm going to show you right now how to make potato bread with the WonderMix. It's great. The first thing I do, I cooked my potatoes in the pressure cooker. And I have a couple potatoes, and you want to use real potatoes. Now, if I'm using like a russet or something, I'm going to peel it. But with the red potato, I'm not going to worry about it. A cube of butter. We're going to put the lid on, and we're going to blend this up. And it has about 4 cups of hot water in it. Perfect, there we go, we're ready to go. And it's nice and hot. We're gonna take this off, set it off to the side, and we're gonna put our bowl on here. And then we're gonna pour our potato, and the little potato skins in there is just gonna give the bread a little more character, so don't worry about that. And the butter's already melted in there. Potatoes and butter goes great together. We're gonna put a little bit of salt in. And our sweetener, we're gonna use agave for our sweetener. About a half a cup of agave. And then we're gonna dump some flour. And you know what? When I make potato bread, I'm sorry, I use pure, good, clean white flour. Put the white flour on. And then the Chef Brad method is you put all of your ingredients on in the bowl. And then about 3/4 of what your recipe calls for white flour. Then the last thing you do is you put the yeast on the top of the white flour. And let me tell you why we do that. If the yeast is on the top, you're never, ever going to kill the yeast by having your water too hot. Those potatoes were hot. The water was hot. If I put my yeast right down in the bottom, I could kill the yeast. And with this method, I have never, not even once, killed my bread by having it in water that's too hot. And this method, having the liquid first and then the flour, everything mixes so much better. This is the new method for making bread, the Chef Brad method. And if you're doing it the old-fashioned way where you put the yeast in first and you might want to reverse that and try our method, you're going to have better success. That's guaranteed. Now we're going to turn it on, and then we're just going to add flour until it cleans the sides. And it's going to take a moment. Let me tell you that with potato bread, you might think it's cleaning the sides, and when you come back, it's sticky again. Just add a little more white flour. There's some starches coming out of that potato, and it's going to be starchy. And a potato bread is going to be a little bit stickier. That's just what a potato bread is. Don't worry about it. Enjoy the experience. The end result is going to be amazing. Oh, and I can smell the potatoes right now in the butter. Wow. A little more flour on there. And notice I don't have a ring on the top of here. You really don't need it with the WonderMix. No flour, always clean. Once it cleans the sides, set your timer for 5 to 6 minutes. Let it knead, and then you're going to form your loaves. Our dough is mixed. I just put a little bit of oil on the counter, and then I'm just going to dump the dough out. There we go. And the potato dough is going to be a tiny bit stickier, but that's okay. That's just the nature of potato bread. It has starch in there, but the texture is wonderful. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Okay, so then we have our dough, and I love the beauty of this dough. Look at the beautiful little pieces of potato peel in there. Isn't that beautiful? That just adds character to the bread. Sometimes we worry too much about those little details, and it's just easier to take that potato and throw it in the blender and not worry about peeling it. And the end result is we're going to get a really beautiful look of artisan style bread. So now we want to teach you about measuring your dough and putting it in the pans. My favorite pans are these pans right here. And they come in 3 different sizes. They come in a small one, which holds 1.5 pounds of dough. They come in the next size, which is my favorite one. This holds 2 pounds of dough. And then one of my good friend's favorite one, because she has less ends on it, is the 2.5 pound loaf. It just depends on what you like. I like this one right here that holds 2 pounds of dough. It's really important that you measure your dough when you put it in the pan. The reason being, if you don't measure, if you put 3 pounds of dough in a 2 pound loaf and you wait till it gets where you think it looks right, it still needs to grow a whole bunch more. And you're going to have heavy bread. If you put too little amount in there and you wait to where it gets where it's supposed to be, it'll collapse and fall. So it's really important that you know how much dough goes in each pan. Remember, 2.5 pounds, 2 pounds, and 1.5 pounds. I like to just lightly spray my pans with a little bit of kitchen spray. And then I'm going to weigh the dough. And it's pretty simple. We sell a wonderful little kitchen scale. I just put this on here, put a little bowl on there, tear the bowl out so there's no weight on the bowl, and then I measure my dough. So I want 2.5 pounds of dough. So I'm going to take this, put it in the bowl. 2 pounds, 3 ounces. 2 pounds, 6 ounces. 2 pounds, 8 ounces. There's my 2.5 pound loaf right there. Now I want a 2 pound loaf. 1 pound, 5 ounces. 1 pound, 13 ounces. Almost, just a little bit more. 2 pounds, there we go. And here's our 2 pound loaf. And now I want to do a 1.5 pound loaf. 1.5 pounds. Oh my goodness, that was almost perfect. There you go, 1.5 pounds. Now I have my 3. Now this piece right here, I'm going to save this and cook it up while the rest is rising and baking. I'm going to take out my flatbread maker and cook this so I can have a nice snack before the bread gets out of the oven. And we'll do that in just a moment. Set that off to the side. We have our 3 loaves here. We're just going to take it and form our loaf. We just kind of knead it, press it down. Oh, this dough is beautiful. Kind of pound it on the counter. That just kind of gets the air bubbles out, and just place it seam side down in your pan. Same thing with our 2 pound loaf. A standard batch of bread, a Chef Brad recipe, will give you about 4 2 pound loaves of bread. So you really need to have 4 of these pans in your collection. There we go. And then this is our bigger loaf, 2.5 pounds. Beautiful. This dough is beautiful. Nice and soft and silky. There we go. We're going to let that rise till it's double. And don't worry about it fitting the pan. When it grows, it's going to fill the pan up perfectly. It's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. I love these pans because they're narrow. They give the proper support to the pan, and they're inexpensive. And you can find these at chefbrad.com.